Hello. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. Brian Jennings here. The man who would have been the movie critic. This channel is about processing. My dangerous relationship with Quentin Tarantino. And I know that my humors have been high in a lot of these videos. And people are going to see the surface. They're not going to listen. Right? They're not actually going to pay attention to what I'm saying. They're only going to see the fervor, right, of madness. Right? And that's fine. That's fine. Of course, it's fine. But what I'm saying is that I'm not insane. Right? I have a powerful psychic clairvoyant relationship with Quentin Tarantino. He is the strongest clairvoyant in Hollywood, one of the strongest in the world. He tried to cast a spell on me as my initiation last year at a screening of Jackie Brown, the Tribeca Film Festival. I failed my initiation. He turned his back on me, right? And so I turned my back on him, right? And that's my fault, right? That's my fault. Can't stress that enough. It's not Quentin's fault. It's his show, right? I could wax poetic, right? I could wax arrogant, but I wanted to give him what he wanted. I did. I wanted to play the role. Not anymore. Anyway, right? From then, he's entered into, right, a disgusting campaign, right, to compel me to madness, to compel me to suicide, right, so that he can have my material for free, right, or just because he's sick and he doesn't like the idea of there being someone who calls himself an actor, right, that doesn't bend to his psychic whim. Right? So I've written a novel about it. It's a novelization of my experiences. Right? It's called Building a Coven, as in a witch's coven. Right? We're both just steeped in it. Right? Sacerdotal art. Right? And so I'll pick up where I left off. Watching clam, right? Which is fish, right? Because they're involved. Okay. I slept from 3:30 until a quarter before 8 a.m. I arise and emerge from my tent. It is already hot, though the oppression is to come. The campground, the standard campground, is structured similar to Big Bend, where a centering vertex, as with the welcome center to the park, has a myriad of food vendors and artisans hawking largely hackneyed wares devoid of inspiration, 100,000 varieties of hat pins and the like. But using that as our vertex, the triangular edges radiate out into the edges of the campground, with ho-hum vendors selling designer drugs, cheap pancakes and coffee, patchwork, tapestries, tie-dye, vegan everything, carnivore everything. It is a true shakedown, if unpolished, unannealed. But that's the authentic vibe. Though Clam is a polished Goliath of commercialism, no one would deny me that certainty. Representing one edge, and the pathway leading to my site represents another. And at the edge of both, a fence defining the hypotenuse, as the back road along the Rio Grande defined the edges of the park. Walking to the coffee truck, I wait in line. 10 minutes I wait. 2 people in line ahead of me. By the time I get in line, I buy cold brew because the heat is becoming audacious. As I am walking back to my campsite, a bearded gnome speaks as we walk past each other. Mushrooms, fungus. I stop by force of habit and say I would buy some, but I don't really have any money. Maybe you could feed my head with just a little? He hesitates not at all. Yeah, dude, if you eat them right now, I'll give you some for free. I nod. That's fair. Thanks. He produces a bag with maybe an ounce of fungus. I would guess outdoor wild ones by the look, but I do not ruminate intellectual. He plunges his hand into the bag as though he has not slept, a quickness and a violence. Grabs some 2 grams and dumps it into my open hands, my right hand on top of my left hand. Not like in prayer. In alms. I shove some in my mouth and drink some water. I slosh and chew as I escape, before having to eat all of them. Thanks, I'm good bounce. I raise my hand and head in appreciation, in aloha, and turn away as he does in the opposite direction. I finish eating the ones in my mouth, but then take a cigarette cellophane and stash the remainder. I brush my teeth and head over to Caleb's site. I arrive and Caleb gives me a big hug. He motions to a chair and I sit. You hungry? I reply. You offering to feed me? He nods. Yeah, man, we got a bunch of food left. I won't say no. I haven't eaten. I would offer to help, but I suspect you have everything taken care of. She's good, dude. She'll hook you up. She nods and sets out to task. Mama Bear, she says, throwing away the notion. Caleb says, what about you? Points to another guy. I suppose he just arrived too. We're going to the river again. He smiles and says, yeah, dude, let's do it. Thank you. At the river, the scene is perfect. Thousands of people recreating together. We go to the same area, with larger, smooth, big rocks to sunbathe on. Perhaps there is a sandy shore somewhere nearby, but we're all here again. Other people hanging out all around us in the water. On the shore. Caleb has brought a football. He is on the shore and several of us are in the water. Look alive! He throws me the football and I catch it, bobbing first up, then plunging down, losing mobility of my arms. Good catch. I throw it back to him. He catches it also. You got a good arm. I get out and sit on the rocks drying off. A girl emerges from nearby. Caleb points the football to her, squats and raises his eyebrows. Ready? She nods and lifts up her hands. Uh-huh. She catches it. We're very close. She looks to me and motions to throw. I clap my hands together and put them up. She throws the ball way too hard and I have to dash my head out of the way. We all have a good laugh. I'm sorry. That's all right. What's your name? Cassie. Ethan. You come to the shows much? Where you from? She thinks. Well, this is my first time coming to see Clam, but I get it. I definitely get it. I nod. For all that I hear people saying how much they hate Clam, usually from Colorado, and interested in EDM and cheese, anytime any of those motherfuckers come to one of these shows, I know they'll have a good time. She nods. I don't get the hate. I get it. They're the best as far as live music is concerned. You can have an opinion. It's good to have identity. But my conclusions are based objectively. Though subjectively, too, they are my favorite band. I play guitar, I'm interested in composition, interested in jamming, interested in shredding. They have it all. I'll be in Colorado. First time? A nod. Cool. Maybe I'll see you there. Again, it is a perfect juxtaposition. They have showers, but the river is better. Today I swam all the way out until the central current began sweeping me south. When the cold began to cut through you, you can bask on the rock like a reptile and warm yourself until the scorch overtakes you and you dive back in once more. I am now standing in line, oppressive heat, unrelenting. There are more people in front of me now than any other day. I look to 2 guys behind me and strike up a conversation. You guys having a good weekend? Yeah, man, I was just telling my friend here about how another guy I know lost his wallet at a show earlier this year and got it back. That's nice. You have to assume you'll never get it back. I submit that, at Clam, you almost can. I do agree on a fundamental level. It seems the weeds have been pulled these last few years. It has become expensive to see Clam. Are you hoping to hear anything? I love the Nun Man. That's been my jam lately. I nod. You know that line comes from a John le Carre novel, a George Smiley novel. His eyes light up. Oh, really? That's from the Tinker Tailor series? Another nod. Yeah. It's the last one of the Carla trilogy, of which Tinker Tailor is the first. Smiley's people, the Nun Man in No Man's Land. Cool. I reckon it came from Clam. He's always reading, you know. I always say if I was going to interview any of the band, it would be Clam. Yeah, he's great. They're all characters. They open the doors and let early access in. We all stand eagerly at the gate. I am against it, waiting for them to open it to everyone else. I remove all of my things and hold them in my hands. Wallet, keys, phone, cigs, lighter. They open the gate and I dash up to the security checkpoint. Sling all of my stuff into the tray and walk through the metal detector. Picking up the tray and starting to walk, I realize my wallet is no longer on my person and I panic. I hover over the checkpoint looking everywhere like an idiot before the security person mugs me and says, "What are you doing?" Sorry, I lost my wallet. I was just looking for it. She menaces me for another 15 seconds before I throw up my hands and relent. "Sorry, I'm going," and walk into the venue for the last show. Pacing through the venue with astonishing speed due to my frustration, I managed to get my same spot. In place of the older Canadian guy the first night, I've had a tall, handsome American guy with long brown hair with his super petite, fairy-type girlfriend to my right yesterday as today. They offer me some of their tapestry. I take a seat as I take my shirt off and cover my head with it. "How you guys doing? You go to the river?" He nods and his lady does too. "Hell yeah, I gotta wash it off, get out of that heat." I nod, smiling. "Yeah, it's great. Just lost my wallet." He goes wide-eyed. "Oh, what? What happened?" I shake my head. "I don't know, I got overzealous and it flew somewhere. And I realized after I was in, but it was so chaotic, there were hundreds of people trying to get in, and security was mugging me, and so I made a decision not to worry about it." "Yeah, that sucks. You'll find it, dude." "Thanks, man, I hope so." "So what are you into?" "I'm studying bioscience, sports science, so you're big into exercise." He nods broad, smiling. "So in a professional capacity, that's like working for a professional sports team, or perhaps analyzing data?" "It's a mixture of both. There's people who study statistics, and then there's people working with athletes directly. Personal trainers and the like." He nods. "Yeah. Cool. That's cool. What about you?" "I've realized I'm a writer. I've been writing a novel, and so that's like what I'm into now. I'm also a musician. I play guitar and I'm a singer, but really I guess I don't know what I am, but I enjoy writing and have been every day for most of this year." "You say it's a novel?" I nod. "That's right." "Cool, man. I would totally read it. Maybe I'd listen to it. Audiobooks. That's how I roll." "That's cool. I get it. Not me. I hold the book, but I get it." "You been getting fucked up?" He nods. "Oh yeah, all weekend. You?" "Yeah, I've been eating way too much acid. I had to eat like 4 today to get off." "Are you doing anything tonight?" "Nah, just some K. That's all. Bumps of K. Nothing too strenuous, you know." I nod. "Yeah, that's a wise move." "You going to Vegas?" "I had tickets to Halloween. I just traded them for Denver." I go wide-eyed. "For real?" "Yeah, I'd rather go to those shows." "That's fair. I'm going. To both, I mean. I'll be in Denver. Maybe I'll go to Halloween." "It is a commitment." "I have floor tickets. I had a seat in 18. Yeah, those shows were great. I was there too. That Halloween set was cosmic. I liked that the 3-set day was the first day. I feel like they've only done that a few times. These hours in the sun always prove your mettle. In 18, I got sloppy and passed out. This time I haven't passed out yet, but I managed to lose my fucking wallet. Fuck me. But I'm here, and the band will come on any minute. They emerge, and we all erupt as is the custom. Adopting the appropriate postures, all 4 of them, they launch into Cold Sap and Quicksilver, a song from the Halloween show we had been discussing. We both look excitedly to each other. As the set came to a close and we were lost in our rhapsody, he looks to me wide-eyed once more. "What do you think? What was your favorite set so far?" I think for a moment, still in applause. "Last night. First set." He nods, smiling. "Yeah, it was fucking good." The second set saw real exploration. Clam and sample used in flesh was excellent. Deep funk with a crying baby over it, or a real deep, "yeah," was hilarious. After they tore into the Talking Heads, they segued, maybe a little choppy, but smooth all the same, into Seen It Again, and I thought of Andrew. In a rare betrayal of my Luddite blood, I produced my phone and texted him. They begin one of my prophecies, and I lean in to announce to my new friends, Mango Salsa. Under an ocean of plasma allowed us all to catch our breath, and to end the set with one of the songs from the piano player is always nice. They emerge for the encore to thunderous applause. Clay speaks, "Some folks deserve 2 songs," and begin playing the Stones' Shine a Light. Rest in peace, Charlie. They close the weekend with Genesis Tubule, and send us out into the world as high as we possibly can be. We're all wide-eyed, I say. I never thought I would say this, but I'm so glad they didn't play Tweaker. The girl nods in agreement and replies, "It's true." I embrace them all, saying, "Pray for me. Keep me in your thoughts. I'm going to go try to find my wallet." They all offer kind looks, and he replies, "You'll find it." And I depart with Legion. I walk up to the courtyard where all the vendors are. A guy waits behind a table as I approach. "What's up?" "I lost my wallet coming into the show. Is there lost and found?" He looks unsure. You could come back tomorrow. Someone will be here." I nod deflated. "Thanks." Walking back towards the entrance, I approach a girl. "I lost my wallet around the entrance tonight and was wondering if you guys had perhaps seen anyone turn in a wallet or if you knew where lost and found is." "The lost and found is actually at the campground. There's a trailer that you will see on your right as you come into it, and that's where it will turn up." She nods. "And you don't mind if I look around?" "No, not at all." I carpet crawl all through the entrance like a crackhead desperate for a rock they dropped, find nothing, and depart. After arriving at the campground, I do see the trailer she mentioned, and so I approach. It has a setup like a pawnbroker or a will call, box office vibes. A plastic partition with a mouth opening like the DMV. A guy stands on the other side of it. "I lost my wallet coming into the show tonight. Could you see if anyone turned one in? Name's Ethan. Brown leather wallet, regular size." He nods, turns, and steps away. "Thanks." He returns with a basket of wallets and knickknacks. "This is everything that's been turned in. You see it?" I shake my head. "Nah, it's not there." He nods. "Well, we're open 24/7. Check back in the morning. Maybe someone will turn it in between then and now." I nod. "Yeah, I guess that's my only play." "Thanks again. I'll check back in the morning. Have a good one." I turn and raise my hand as a gesture of appreciation. "You too." Heading back to my campsite, I grab my guitar and walk over to see Caleb. Upon arrival, I see many people. Some dozen or baker's dozen of people, all carousing and having a good time. 2 dogs, real sweet, scurry around. The one, a corgi mix, runs up to me with a bone in its mouth. I pet it and try to take the bone. The dog fights playfully before dashing away again. 2 pretty girls, one of which is espousing the virtues of Dot's pretzels. "These Dots are so good. I can eat these Dots constantly." A guy offers a sarcastic question. "What do you pair it with?" She thinks for a moment, looking up in contemplation. "These Dots go with vodka." And we all have a good chuckle. I start noodling on guitar and Caleb sees me for the first time. He leaps up and runs over and gives me a hug. "Oh, what's up, dude? I didn't see you get here. How are you?" We embrace as I reply, I'm good. What a show. I just got here." He sees the guitar and looks to me. "I've seen you shred that fucking thing all weekend and never seen you play a song. Will you play us something?" I nod and take a seat. I clear my throat and launch into Seen It Again, singing as best as my obliterated vocal cords will allow. After the refrain leading into the jam of "I seen it again," A sharp to A to G sharp to G. "I seen it again." I stop and receive a nice round of applause, with the Dots critic entreating, "That was actually really good." And I thanked him. Caleb asks me, "What was the first clam song you ever got?" I laugh. I'm actually really lucky. My first songs were Ground into Split Sky. Another guy joins the conversation sitting to my right. "Oh, what? A cappella song is your first one?" I nod and smile. I know it's ridiculous. "What about you, Caleb? What was your first show?" "My first show was the M Show." "Oh, what? That's even cooler." Clam is the only band to wield the masteries so holistic, they in fact pierce new regions of the hologram. And in 2011, by accident, they played the first 4 songs, which all began with the letter M, then Clay realized, and with the light bulb illuminated, they played the entire show over 30 songs, all beginning with the letter M. They have since gone on to spell several acrostics as well. Always at the same venue, with the last time being in 17, where they spelled thanks at the final encore. I am now walking back from the venue wherein I was informed my wallet is not there. A guy is walking beside me. "How's it going?" Sigh. "Not good, honestly. I lost my wallet yesterday and it looks like I won't be finding it again." "That sucks. I'm sorry to hear that." "Do you need some help?" I look to him and seek his intention. He seems buffoonish, but perhaps is sincere. "If you're serious, I won't say no. Even just $50 would go a long way. I'll help." "So what do you do, Shifty Eyes?" "Oh, I rent my other room out of my apartment through Airbnb by the month." Now my eyes squint. "So you own the place?" "No, I lease it. My landlord knows." "I guess he's cool for now." I shake my head. I would guess that won't last. We see the information tent to our right. We should check with them. Maybe they can tell us where an ATM is. We walk inside. I can already tell he doesn't want to give me the money, but fuck you, I'll hold you to your word. Inside, a girl sits behind a counter where you can purchase various knickknacks without having to leave. Toothbrush, towel, deodorant, etc. I entreat, is there an ATM somewhere on the property? She shakes her head. No, sorry, they removed them all last night, so there aren't any here at all anymore. Another head shake with a frown. I see. Thank you. Leaving there, I proceed to follow this guy around for over an hour as he continually avoided me bringing it up constantly. Even offering him a way out, saying as we sat at a campsite of a friend of his, a smaller RV, if you don't want to give me any money, you don't have to. To which he quipped wryly, slurring, high on edibles and lack of sleep, no, I'll help. I'm going to help. And so I left with him still assuring me that he was going to help me, that I should call him a little later in the afternoon after he leaves. I suppose I'll stop. I'll stop there. Right. So, it's a novelization of my experiences with Quentin Tarantino. Fish and Train Anastasia are involved because I wrote them, right, from a place of love in an effort to help Quentin and myself reconcile, right, in my naivete, right. It took me until February of this year to really see, right, that this is, that there is no reconciliation, that there is no, right, that he's created this condition, right, obviously to compel me to madness, to compel me to suicide, right, because no one in their right mind, right, would create such a condition where we both exist as psychic phantoms in the other one's mind and expect it to persist for the last 30 years of their life. That is a logical fallacy. That is, right, that is a dangerous condition psychologically, right? Therefore, right, his intention was always to overwhelm me, right? How many times has he said, right? So, for sure, between August and February, how many times did he say, God, I can't wait till this guy blows his brains out. Then I'll be free of it. Right? And so now, right, now we're talking about it, right? Because after I realized, right, what his design is, right, which is me 6 feet in the ground, right, that I had the thought, now that, because like I have the densest braid of celestial resonance, right, probably of any millennial in my mind. He cannot break my mind with his mind, right? So now that he knows that, right, now that he knows that, right, that we're both clairvoyants, right, that this isn't, right, it's a two-way street, right? You don't have to have money to be wise, right? What is he prepared to do to put me in the ground? And so he stole my fear because I know what the game is, right? I know what someone can do to anyone, right? I know how easy it is to destroy someone with your mind, right? And he's descended into disgusting base black magic to poison my body, right? And so we're talking about it, right? And so the argument, right, the argument is that I'm not well, right? The argument is that, oh gosh, how unfortunate, right? And so if that's true, right? If that's true, right? Then, right, it's time to release the screening of Jackie Brown last year, right? That's right? But he can't do that, right? Because he has there's nothing to show, right? There's nothing to show like, oh, this is how, right? That if, as soon as he releases that, right, that everything that I'm saying is true, right? That's the point, right? That I'm not unwell. I am of sound mind, right? So, right? We're talking about it, right? So, you have a thought, right? Right? You have a mind, you have a conscious awareness, right? Right? Embossed within every cubic centimeter of space, right, is the quantum archetypal geometric scaffolding for all manifested reality, right? That this is, right? This is the condition, right? Right? And so when we say that life has an intellectual origin, right, we understand, right, that Presbyterians espousing fire and brimstone, denouncing the evils of magic, of sorcery, right, that all of these things, right, that they're, right, that they're amateur, right, that they're childish notions of deity, right, that the true condition is that God is stillness, God is rest, right, that there is, right, when the atheist says there's nothing to pray to, right, when Salman Rushdie says blasphemy is a victimless crime, right, they're both right, but they're both wrong at the same time, right? That obviously religion is a psychological necessity within man, right? That obviously looking up, seeing the mystery, seeing Orion in the sky, right? That ancient man said, "Oh, that looks like me," right? Therefore, right? Right? They create these myths. They create these satyrs, right? These, they create the pantheon, right? And so the mystery traditions are always categorized in two strata, right? There is the lesser mysteries, right, and the greater mysteries, right? And so the lesser mysteries, right, is the catechism, right? Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death. Right? That it's the recognition that there is a mystery in life, right? That there is a horizon of man's ignorance that he will never circumvent, right? Perhaps he gets a little closer each generation, right? Right? And so this is the lesser mysteries, right? The recognition of ignorance, right? The recognition of the limitations of science, the recognition of the limitations of man's understanding, right? All of these things, right? And so the greater mysteries, right, is the liberation out beyond the mystery, right? Is to say, oh, okay, there is an engine, right, that allows life to propagate, right? And that is God. That's what God is, right? And it operates on a foundation of love and compassion and giving, right? And so this is Russellian science, right? Right? That all things exist, right, forever as idea, right? And so God, right, which is a conscious pressure upon the perfectly nested quantum waveform hologram, right, embedded unilaterally throughout all of space, right, exerts his knowing, right, which is witnessed manifestly, right, by the material measurable world as a pressure condition, right, as concentration, decentration, right. And so as soon as something comes into the world out of static inertia, right, it operates solely on a principle of giving, right, of love, right. The sun has no concern for what it receives. It gives and gives and gives and gives unconditionally forever, right. And so this is, right, these are the distinctions in the mystery schools, right, that these, like, this is, right, that there's the first level, like, there's the question, right, there's, how does it all come into being, right? And that's the first thing, right? But the secondary, the tertiary, everything thereafter, right? There's the question and then there's the answer, right? And so instances of clairvoyance, right? Instances of psychic phenomenon, right? All derive from this same knowing. Yes, that's the point, right? Right? This is right? Right? So the things that people refer to as psychic, telepathy, right? Clairvoyance, right? Remote viewing, thaumaturgy, right? All these things, right? They're the same things that people refer to as magic and sorcery, right? Right? This is unequivocal, right? That logic is absolute. They're the same things, right? They're not similar things. They're the same things, right? And so now the two of us are embroiled in this thing, right? Where it's become, right? It's become an actual, right? There's no more subtlety, right? Like he was playing some bullshit subtle game, right? to make me go, it's all so much, bang. Right? And so now, right, everyone that I've written, right, about this, right, everyone that I wrote in an effort to help us reconcile, right, have all closed ranks around him. They all insulate his evil, right? And so, in so doing, the things that he's done to me, right? Right? As far as my understanding is concerned, right, that he has given me, right, divine authority, right, to take action, right? And so, right, again, I live in perpetual fear, right? There is never a moment that goes by where I don't think, when's he gonna hit his breaking point and send people to murder me? This is obviously a violent man, right? This is obviously, right, someone who's not rooted in love, someone who doesn't see what's good in his life, right? Right? He would rather dedicate all of himself towards destroying me, right? And so, right? There's nothing I can do about it, right? He knows exactly where I am, right? He sits in his ivory tower. Hardy har har har. Right? But I have no choice now. I have to build it. I'm building something, right? That's, again, right? So, see what's good in your life, right? That while there's nothing to pray to, right? There's an understanding that you can have, right? That the intellectual origin of life, right, propagates life through love, through giving, right? That's like, this is, right? Those are the greater mysteries. There's another. Why might not that be the skull of a lawyer? Where be his quiddits now? His quillets, his cases, his tenures, and his tricks. Why does he suffer this rude knave now to knock him about the sconce with a dirty shovel, and will not tell him of his action of battery, This fellow might be in's time a great buyer of lands, with his statutes, his recognizances, his fines, his double vouchers. Is this the fine of his fines, and the recovery of his recoveries, to have his fine pate full of fine dirt? Will his vouchers vouch him no more the cost, and double ones too, than the length and breadth of a pair of indentures? The very conveyances of his lands will hardly lie in this box. And must the inheritor himself have no more?